she was way out in front of us. Way out in front of us. Way out in front of us in terms of filing for the divorce, getting exclusive possession of the house, just creating as much chaos as possible. Sometimes I wonder, how long was she planning this? Sometimes I say her name, and then I think to myself, I don't know if I want to say her name, but Mustafa, she walked into court and spoke my name in lies. So,
all rise.
I just want to be able to see my daughter.
Like a real man to be.
So you're just living off his child.
We've gone over so many of these cases.
Order in the court.
Welcome back to the Family Call podcast. Last time we did this was about a year ago, and when we first spoke, that's when you were going through you eviction.
Being evicted from my house now.
Immediately, but what we allow you to do is get an overnight bag. All right, so we'll go inside, you can get some of your things.
I have to leave with you?
No, you can try away.
No. What I'm asking you is, I have to leave right now.
Correct. Yep. So you can go inside, gather up some of your things, we allow you that courtesy. And do you have your car here?
I do.
And then, on your own accord, you can leave it, okay?
So you're going to leave and I can leave after you? I just have to leave?
We're going to leave with you. We're going to leave together. Okay. You definitely have to leave today, okay?
Gotcha.
I can't seem to understand why the court system till this day, of how many cases that have come before some of these judges where people have lied. Some of these judges, they know that these people are lying, but it's like nothing is happening to stop this train, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
man. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about a few things, you know what I mean? But before we get into it, let me just check on you, man. How you been since the last time we spoke?
I am doing right now, man. I'm doing fantastic, Mustafa.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say fantastic, I mean, like, I could not have known that the trials and tribulations were going to lead to this kind of reality for me. And I have always been a fighter. I will always be a fighter. And so I always tell people that she picked the perfect target to help me illuminate for others and help other people the seriousness of this problem, this false allegation. They call them protection from abuse orders in my area. They call them restraining areas in other places.
Yeah,
but
PPO here in Georgia.
PPO. So these bogus claims that provide people an opportunity to take advantage of other people. So it's the abuser claiming that they're being abused,
right,
and then turning it on somebody unsuspectingly. And it is so common that I agree with you. It is hard for me to believe that judges don't know better.
Exactly.
And I know I'm pressing so many people right now, man. I will talk about it, but I'm pressing so many people. I mean, senators, county council members. I just right before I hopped on this call with you, I called the state trooper office. I am reaching out to Navy Criminal Investigative Services. I am going hard to resolve my personal matter in the interest of being able to help other people, because there's no way in the world people should be able to walk into a court and say anything and it not be challenged thoroughly. I am glad. I'm glad I'm away from that person. I really am. I'm glad I'm away from her. But she still has to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
For what she did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I agree with that.
My work is going to get us there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with this question, and then we can move on to some of the things that you have been doing, and we can talk about that. So, how is your mental now? You know what I mean? Or going through that process, what were you doing to basically keep yourself insane, or to keep yourself sane, rather?
Yeah, because I kept myself insane for a little while too. When somebody does something like that to you, when you are really trusting somebody and you are giving your all to a person and you think they're doing the same thing, it will drive you insane. And I have come to the belief that that is exactly what it's intended to do.
Yeah.
You know my good friend Padita Jafari, the attorney out in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. The idea behind these false allegations is to destabilize you,
Yeah.
to disorient you, to discredit you, and to depress you.
Yeah.
It is strategically developed. And so I was a particular kind of person before this happened. So it wasn't difficult for me to recalibrate mentally. You know, my heart was broken. Let me just be very clear about that.
Yeah.
My heart was broken. But then as I began to talk with people, I did some very strict therapy for about 7 months during that time, during that transition from August the 4th, 2021, up until about probably March 2022. Some very strict therapy with a therapist. But man, the thing that helped me most were the friends that I had, the friends and family that I had before this happened, and the friends and family that I continue to have even now. You know, I have a great group of friends, very smart people, very well educated people, very deep people who, you know, they can sit there with me just as well as a therapist. And some of my friends are therapists, but they can sit there with me and work it out with me and be above and beyond the talking. I always tell people exercise was crucial for me.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
sitting around thinking about this and even talking about it over and over again, to me can be constipating. It's like, why am I going to keep talking about this? I need to do something.
Right.
And then the other part of that was not just in talking about what happened, but the truly cathartic part for me was in beginning to develop a response for what happened.
Yeah.
Once I got past the fact that this woman fooled me, this woman literally developed a lie and deceived me. Once I got past that and I started reading up on everything from narcissism to borderline personality to just plain old evil and cruelty, man. When I started looking that stuff up and I started looking more outside of myself, because it's easy to blame yourself.
Right.
You know, it's easy for us to say, what did I do? How did I let that happen? Man, on any given day, any one of us can be deceived. On any given day, nobody is perfect. And the circumstances were perfect for her to do what she did. But it's the comeback to me that has been the most therapeutic part of this. For me to be writing letters to politicians and legislators, for me to have met people like you, man, there's some things, some clips that I have of you when we talked a year and a half ago or so. Actually, man, it's almost been 2 years, you know, because we started talking back in 2023.
Yeah.
Right. For me to have men like you, and this is one thing that I gotta say to your listeners, you gotta have a tight circle of friends that you can count on. And I think you do want to talk to people who have been through something like this. A therapist is good, but I think it's important to talk to people who have been through and have successfully emerged from this kind of thing, because they're not just talking about theory. They're talking about the application of their efforts. They can tell you, okay, I did this, and there's no one size fits all resolution to this. But that's like, you know, talking to a guy that plays basketball versus a guy who's a fan of basketball. I'm going to listen to the player.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend that people listen to the people who have been thrown into this game, played it successfully, and have developed a network of literally, I mean, I've developed a network of people all around the world, man. I've got people all around the world, literally on every continent. that I talk to about this matter now. And so I'm grateful for the cathartic, therapeutic, justice focused process that I've been through.
I'm videotaping this because this is some bullshit. You don't mind? Hello, sir. My name is Ulysses Butch Slaughter.
Yes, sir.
And you are?
Trooper Orgish.
All right. Everybody got that because I'm going to share this shit. And you are?
Trooper DeSalvatore.
I like these guys.
Yes, sir. Sir, do you get license on you?
I do.
Thank you.
Asking me for my license. All
Appreciate
right.
that.
Hey, no problem. No problem.
So this is a PFA, right?
Right.
So you're with Pauline Bernadette Thompson?
That is correct.
Now, who's that to you?
She's my wife.
Good deal. All right, so here's the deal. She's serving a PFA against you.
What is that?
Protection from abuse.
Protection for what?
For protection from abuse. This is for you. This is your copy. Yep.
What does that mean?
What's that?
A protection from abuse.
There was something going on between you two
Yes.
that she didn't like, all right? So she filed a protection from abuse order against you.
Do I have to leave?
You will, yeah.
I'm-
I'm just taking the time to sort of explain this to you, all right?
All right, all right.
Giving you that courtesy. All right, so if you want to open that up, that packet, sir.
I'm being evicted. I've been accused of, I cannot believe I'm standing here in front of this house, accused of abusing Pauline.
There's an unhealed wound. I'll put it that way. And there's a wound that has not been properly addressed. And because my ex so well planned this thing, she was way out in front of us. Way out in front of us, way out in front of us in terms of filing for the divorce, getting exclusive possession of the house, just creating as much chaos as possible. Sometimes I wonder, how long was she planning this? Because August the 4th, I'm evicted. It took, for a lot of reasons, it took more than 2 years for the divorce to be finalized. And so we're out of the house all that time. But I think the thing that, the two things that, maybe three things that I think leave a very bitter taste in my children's mouth: the activation of the police, the still no explanation to them. If this was their stepmother, this was somebody I entrusted to be a stepmother to them, still no explanation from her. Never had the kindness to say, hey, this is what's going on, this is what it is. Never. And we talking about a Penn State psychology professor, somebody who you would think would know what you're doing to other human beings.
Yeah.
So activation of the police, and these aren't in a particular order, but again, just kind of blowing things up, walking away with no explanation, extremely disrespectful and dismissive. Like, you don't matter to me. I don't owe you an explanation. And then the third thing is, of course, what you did to their father, what you attempted to do to their father, how you took his name into court. And I always say this, because sometimes I say her name, and then I think to myself, I don't know if I want to say her name, but Mustafa, she walked into court and spoke my name in lies. So when I ever say her name, I don't feel bad about saying her name. I'm not the least bit concerned about saying her name. But I still recognize that there's a spot in me of some respect where I don't want to make it feel like I'm just kind of, trying to tarnish her name. She's already done a good job of that herself.
Exactly. Right.
She as a good friend of mine said, she should have thought about all this before she started this. So my children are still dealing with those things, and they were still young enough to be influenced and impacted by what they saw in that relationship. And so I remember my son saying to me, he's 21 now. He was 17 when this happened. I remember him saying to me, he meets people, and kind of like you said early on, he said he meets girls and any one of them could be Pauline, my ex-wife. Yeah. He's like, I'm concerned that, any one of them could flip out like that, say something at the drop of a dime and just go with a lie. And so it makes him reserved, and it makes me reserved. Um, and like I said, man, I refuse to let my children be attacked in that way without um, a response that for me is justified for what she's done.
Yeah.
And it
No,
will be, I
I'm
want to mention this also, and it won't
right.
just be in court, because I think that that's the thing, is that when I'm talking to people now about how to resolve these things, family court isn't the only way to resolve this stuff.
Yeah.
Filing a lawsuit, civil court isn't the only way to resolve this stuff. You got to be creative, strategic around how you're going to resolve this stuff, because you can go to family court and get no resolution. You can go to civil and get no resolution. You better have some other ways of dealing with it. And I'm talking about legal ways of dealing with it. But you gotta open the frame up, as I say, to be able to deal with this challenge on your terms, because those aren't your terms necessarily.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. You know, I was gonna say I'm 35, and my little brother just turned 26. When I was going through it, it marked him so much that, just like with your son, my brother is now reserved. He is afraid of getting into a serious relationship. Marriage is out of the question. You know, even though I try to help him understand, sometimes what I went through doesn't mean that you will go through the exact same thing. I mean, you might get lucky and find someone who will come
Right.
and honor you and really want to be in a relationship and grow with you. Like, this doesn't happen to everybody, but just me going through that, him seeing that, it turned him into a different person. So this thing is serious. And then sometimes one thing I don't understand is, see, when I was going through this, I went back to school and I got my paralegal certificate just so I can understand how the family court really function or operates. So and I go to court at least once a week or so. Sometimes when you see these mothers come in there and start fabricating these lies, I always tell myself, you know that the family court is so one-sided. You don't have to make up these things. You can just come and tell the truth, and the judge will still be on your corner. That's the thing that really shocks me. So for you to come up with this crazy allegation, you have to be a completely special person, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do it. So for you to do it, nah, man, you're not a good person. You cannot be.
Yeah, I agree.
You cannot be.
That point that you're making has been crucial for me. You're not a good person. And there are those of us, and I think I'm one of those. I believe in the kindness and goodness of most people.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes people like me and you vulnerable to people who know that we believe in the kindness of people, because when they start to misbehave, we give them so much room for growth. We justify. And, people say you should have kept your boundaries and all that kind of stuff. And I say again, there's no one size fits all. It's a very delicate dance. Relationships are a very delicate dance.
Yeah.
But people will intentionally seek out, cruel people will intentionally seek out good people to take advantage of them. And they will lie, and they will manipulate, and they will cause chaos, and then walk away like nothing ever happened. And you get to the point, and this is something that I've discovered about my ex over these last 3.5, almost 4 years. She has a history of doing this. She has a history. I don't know that you've seen any of the work that I've put out recently, but her brother reached out to me in January of 2024 and sent me this whole text thread that started with, "It is my opinion that she lied, falsely accused you." He writes, "That's just my opinion from knowing her for 50 years. Her brother wrote this to me, texted to me, and then goes even deeper into how she accused her ex-husband of some things and got him in trouble, and then went back to the time she was in the United States Navy and made a false allegation of abuse against an officer." Now, Mustafa, she actually admitted to me that she did that right before COVID, when I was literally getting ready to move into another house. I was literally getting ready to move into another house when COVID happened. And everything started going crazy in the world, because when she admitted that to me, I started going, wow, that's, I don't know, what to do with that. And as circumstances turned out, we started trying to figure out how to protect ourselves during COVID, because nobody knew what in the world was going on. And it was in that crucial moment that I decided, all right, we're going to move into the same house. We're going to make it through COVID, and we'll deal with all this stuff by and by. And it was in that crucial moment where she became this character that I had no idea who this character was. It was like I fell for a trap. So I just think it's so important for people to look at who you're dealing with for as long as possible. Padita likes to say you should be with somebody for 4 seasons. And she doesn't mean 4 seasons as in, winter, spring, summer, fall.
Right.
She means 4 years before you say yes to them. You got to see what they're going to do under certain circumstances. And we were just entering year 3 when all of this happened. So,
Yeah. No, you're right. I think, before I started this platform and before all the crazy thing that I went through in family court, I was a store manager with Walmart. And one of the things when I was hiring people, we always look at people's past history. For you
Right.
to be able to do the job, we have to make sure that you have done either the same job or something similar to it in the
Yes.
past. And I think
Yep.
when it comes to relationship, the mistake that many of us make, we don't take the time to really analyze or even go back into our partner's past relationships. And that's the mistake that many of us make. The point that you make
Yep.
that I wanted to touch on, these things, it doesn't just comes out of the blue. It's who they are. It's something that they have done before. And again, I 100% agree with that, because I remember there was one time we were in the car and she was explaining to me how she was getting into with her ex-boyfriend and how he was choking her. And the thing that I want to mention is that when we are in a relationship with someone or trying to get into a relationship with someone, when they bring these crazy stories to us, we don't try to investigate. We try to become the protector. You know what I mean?
Yes, we do.
So
we do.
she went through this. Let me make sure that I can, let me make sure that she don't go through that alone, not knowing that she was the reason. If it did happen, she was the one either started it or the one that instigated. I mean, she had to be the center of that issue.
Yes. Yes.
It's really crazy. But and the funny story is, I was talking to someone when I started asking her about some of her past relationships. She was like, "If you like me, my past wouldn't matter." Man, I hang up the phone so quickly.
I don't blame you, bro. I don't blame you, because that's
I was like,
how many criminals say that, man?
Exactly.
I mean, like, yeah. So what? I've been in jail, 8 times. What difference does that make?
Right.
So what? I just got out of jail last week. What difference does that make? No, man. I agree with you, man. And I think, again, Padita will say this, that men are fixers. I've heard it many times before. We have this thing where, we're going to save a woman. We're going to make sure that never happens to you again. They come in with these stories about what happened. And I've been saying lately, women are different when it comes to their violence against men. If men use their hands, women use their mouths, and they use manipulation tactics.
Mental games.
They play a mental game, because the physical thing, they can't, it's not a lot they can do to you physically. So they get you wrapped up in a story.
Yeah.
And you want to be Prince Charming, knight on the white horse, whatever. And you find yourself going, oh, wow, poor thing. And the next thing you know, she kicking you to the curb and calling the police on you.
Exactly.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. And this is why these conversations to me have become really important, because like your brother and like my son, it's it's hard not to be jaded. It's hard not to look at this and feel like I am not going to go through that. But what I really hope is that it just makes them more discerning. It's just our way of saying slow it down, take your time. You ain't got no place to go. If you got a relationship, great, grow with the relationship. Don't jump in the deep end too fast because you don't know what's in there. Just stay at the shallow end, gradually work your way to the deep end. And then if you get so far into the shallow and you start to see things, you retreat. Don't put it all in there. And I think we just need to learn to be more patient when it comes to relationships.
Absolutely. Have you watched a movie called Gone Girl?
Oh my God, brother. Come on, man. Mustafa, that is required. That is required viewing. When I see Gone Girl, I see my ex-wife.
Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder. Nick Dunn took my pride and my dignity and my hope and my money. He took and took from me until I no longer existed. That's murder. Let the punishment fit the crime.
I've bought that up. And the level, you remember Basic Instinct? It was like one of the first. So they're like three. I go way back to one that Clint Eastwood played in called Play Misty for Me. When I was a little boy, Clint Eastwood was a disc jockey in this movie. And same storyline, attractive, sexy woman, comes on. Next thing you know, they into something. But Gone Girl, whew.
To fake a convincing murder, you have to have discipline. You befriend a local idiot. Harvest the details of her humdrum life and cram her with stories about your husband's violent temper. Secretly create some money troubles, credit cards, perhaps online gambling. With the help of the unwitting, bump up your life insurance. Purchase getaway car, Craigslist, generic, cheap, pay cash. You need to package yourself so that people will truly mourn your loss. And America loves pregnant women.
You know what's crazy though? I watched that movie. I watched it with my brother and my ex-wife. We all watched it together. After that movie,
your viewers got to watch that one, man.
As if it's so hard to spread your legs. You know what's hard? Faking a pregnancy. First, drain your toilet. Invite pregnant idiot into your home and ply her with lemonade. Steal pregnant idiot's urine. Voila. A pregnancy is now part of your legal medical record.
After that movie, my brother was already paranoid, and then I went through what I was going through after that movie.
What's funny is that it's not listed as a horror movie, but it should be.
Yeah.
They call it a thriller, but that's some horrible stuff, bro. That is right up there with, Jason and Freddy Krueger, because the beauty is so deceptive. And then when you see the calculation, man, the things that she went through, it's hard for us to believe somebody would do that, but they do.
Happy anniversary. Wait for your clueless husband to start his day. Off he goes, and the clock is ticking. Meticulously stage your crime scene with just enough mistakes to raise the specter of doubt.
I'm a journalist by background. And so, the things that are of interest to me have always been of interest to me, but they're even more of interest to me now. And I've been tracking certain uh, headline stories, and one of them comes out of Tallahassee, Florida. And it's the story of a woman named Wendy Adelson. She was a law student, and her husband's name was Dan Markell. Wendy Adelson's family conspired to kill Dan Markell because her brother, her mother, I know her father has something to do with it. They hired 3 people to kill this man because he did not want to give up his children and allow her to move them back to, I want to say they were in Miami. I think they lived in Miami. The story is crazy. So when you think about Gone Girl as a fiction piece, I say to people, look up the story of Wendy Adelson. It's a very current story. Dan Markell was killed back in August 2014, and they're just getting around to arresting the mother in conjunction with this.
November 13th, 2023, police detained Donna Adelson, a Miami grandmother, and her dentist husband, Harvey, on the jetway at the Miami airport as they attempted to board an international flight.
So not just the individual woman, sometimes it's the whole family, man. And
Yeah, that's
you
how it
gotta
was for me.
take your time.
Yeah, that's how it was for me. When I first filed for divorce, she ran with our children, and she went through her twin sister's house. So the next day, the kids were supposed to go to school, so they didn't go to school. So and I called her sister to see if the kids were with her, and she said yeah, but she ended up going to school. So she went to work and left the children instead of taking them to school. Now she left the children to her sister, and not knowing that her mother was actually in town, she was the one hiding the kids. So when I went to pick up my children, mind you, this is when I initially filed, so there was no court order or anything like that. So I went to pick up my children. Her mother saw me coming. She jumped in her car and took off. Yes, hi. The address, it's... Hey, I'm just to pick up the kids until Yolanda gets off.
I think Stacy, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
I don't know what it is.
Well, I'm trying to pick up my kids, and it seems like they are. Give me 1 second, I'm sorry. And I was behind her. We were doing like 60, 70 miles. I'm telling you, and I have the video of the entire thing, and the police. Listen.
I'm right behind them.
I want my kids. I want my kids. Don't get it. I want my kids. Okay. Okay. All right. That's fine. I call the police. I call the police. I call the police. I want my kids. Money if I just record it for.
Yeah, you just
Okay.
I know you kind of explained everything to the other officer.
Yes, sir.
He kind of did brief me down on your side of things.
Right.
Can you go for it one more time?
Yeah, she was running. She was literally driving down the street. And I was on the phone with the police. I'm like, yo, she kidnapped my kids. I'm behind her. She's doing 75, 80, cutting corners. Mind you, my kids on the back of the car with no car seat, nothing, And eventually the police caught up to us and they pulled her over, But yeah, I mean, the family, most of the time, the family, they are the one instigating. They are the one pushing. It was crazy. It was crazy. When I tell you I went through it, I went through it.
And we can laugh now because we are far enough away from the madness that we look back. And as people say sometimes, you have to laugh to keep from crying.
Right.
But we're far enough away from it, but we can still see it crystal clear how crazy it was.
Yeah.
How absolutely crazy it was. This is why people need to listen to you. They need to learn from your experience. They say a fool has to learn the lesson. A wise man will learn from somebody else's lesson.
Experience, exactly,
You
right.
know, this is why we put out the content that we put out. We put it out there because we're putting it out there as these are cautionary tales. This is what happened to Mustafa. This is what happened to Ulysses. What's going to happen to you? Take your time. You don't have to jump out there, and then you won't have to come on this podcast and tell us what happened. Because
That is
Mustafa's
true.
got plenty.
Yeah,
He's got,
that is true. But you know what's crazy though? The stories, if you really sit back and look at it, the stories are usually the same. You know, there may be a little bit of a difference here and there, but the majority of the story is literally the same thing. It's like they all read the same blueprint. You know what I mean? Like they all follow the same thing. It's crazy.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
let me
I
ask
agree.
you. So, how is your relationship with her now? Do you have any type of relationship with her at all?
None, absolutely none.
I see how you open your eyes.
I haven't seen her since July 2023.
Yeah.
The things that the procedures, processes, complaints that I have initiated, I think would run anybody into hiding. So she would do well to stay out of any circle that I'm in, because fool me once, you know, they say, fool me twice, and it ain't gonna happen again. It ain't gonna happen again. There will be no conversation. Mustafa, when I picture her now, I don't see in any way, shape, or form the same being, the same entity that I thought I once saw. It's a total charade, total fraud. And so to see her face, it would just be something entirely different, man. Entirely different. There's like the emptiness in me reflects the emptiness in her that allowed her to do what she did. You know what I'm saying? Like where there used to be a space in there of empathy, gone, gone. And so if I see her physically, the connection it's like looking at a rock, man. Really, it'd be like looking at a rock.
Yeah, I think it would have been the same for me too if we didn't have children. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and the
I
crazy
can see
thing
that.
is, yeah, and the crazy thing is though, this is why I tell men, you want to take your time, because the moment that you have children, you are not
Oh boy.
stuck with this monster forever. It's crazy,
Absolutely.
you know. So
Absolutely.
take your time. You know, better. I would have been okay if she had done this to me if we didn't have children. You know, I don't
Yep.
even think I would have started this platform, to be honest with you. I would have just, let it go or whatever, and just move on with my life. But the fact that I have children is like I just cannot. I can't let
Mm-hmm.
certain things go. You know,
Mm-hmm. And when I hear you say that, Mustafa, and I'm looking at, you know, the name of your organization, I Am a Dad. Um, I think about, we talk a lot of times about intergenerational trauma, and it is something that I can relate to. You know, my father killed my mother when I was young, and I was always very concerned about the perpetuation of a particular energy in my family. And you as a father, you know, I'm not in any way predicting the future, because I believe in God and anything is possible in terms of healing. But it is also true that our children pick up on our experiences, and how they pick up on our experiences. Sometimes we have no control over that, no matter how much we talk to them, no matter how much we try to help them. They just are moving with that experience. I mean, I'm picturing your children in the backseat of their grandmother's car, because that was their grandmother driving 75, 80 miles an hour, right? Imagine what it was like for them to be sitting in the back of that seat, in the back of their car, going through that. You know, that's potentially etched in a way that it's going to take some serious reframing to get them to see the value of that moment as opposed to the pain of that moment. And it's possible. I want to be very clear, it's possible. But damn, did they
It's
have
hard.
to go through that? I mean, like
Exactly. Yeah.
did I hate when people talk about the children's resilience. Well, how about we not put them through it, and then we won't have to be talking about their resilience.
Right.
But
Yeah. And
people
what makes
put
it tough
children through
is,
it.
That's right. I mean, what makes it tough is you, the father, could be trying to, get them the help that they need, but at the end of the day, they still have to go back to mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And they go
yeah.
back. So it's like the cycle. This is what people call generational curses. Is because
Hmm.
it's very hard to break that cycle if you don't have full custody. And
Yes,
I
it
want to
is.
say about 90% of the fathers that follow me do not have full custody. So,
Yeah,
and I always tell
yeah.
them, when it comes to this thing, the best thing that you can do, find a way to heal, find a way to forgive. I know it's hard, but you have to find a way to forgive because of your children. But the hardest thing is you cannot give them the proper help that they need because they have to go back to mom. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
So,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. So let's jump on some of the work that you have been doing. I saw one of your videos. I don't know if you were talking to your city council.
I was talking to Delaware County Council. The county of Delaware sits just outside of Philadelphia County, where Philadelphia is located. And I have made it my business, along with a good friend of mine. I'm going to say her name at some point, but we have just become like the dynamic duo in this county of going after, uh, trying to get people to understand false allegations of abuse.
Mhm.
And so I've made it my business to go in front of Delaware County Council every month and talk with them about false allegations of abuse and those protection orders that are being misused. I'm going to do that every month. I'm going in there, but I'm going in there with the intent of getting them to recognize what is called falsely accused day. It's an international observation that was started September the 9th, 2020, falsely accused day. So I think sometimes in order for you to attract dollars, you've got to create some traction around an idea. And so people can see that, okay, you're making some movement. So I'll give you some money. I'll put some gas in that car because I see you going someplace. And so we've been going in front of Delaware County Council talking about false allegations because we want Delaware County Council to sign a proclamation. My friend's name is Rael LaPinta. She actually drafted up a proclamation that we want Delaware County Council to sign on to for Falsely Accused Day 2025, September the 9th, 2025. Now, you know what's crazy about this, man, is September the 9th, 2021 was the very first day that I have ever had handcuffs put on me and put into prison. So the year after this thing was initiated, September 9th, 2020, a year later, I'm being handcuffed and put into jail after a false allegation of abuse. So we are pushing to have that proclamation signed, delivered by Delaware County Council. And we're also now talking to state senators. We're talking to state representatives. We are sending this thing far and wide, and we're actually sharing it in New York. Excuse me, New York. There's an organization called Davia. It's an international organization, 175 organizations. If you're not
Yeah. They
familiar
send
with it,
me. Yeah. They send me. I think I'm a member too.
in
They
the
they,
in
they
email,
contacted me a few. Yeah. They contacted
yeah,
me a few months back.
I would say that it's well worth it, man, because there are 175 member organizations around the country. I'm sorry, around the world. Excuse me, again, around the world. And they are making some traction. So on March the 12th, they are gaining some traction. Excuse me. March the 12th, I'll be in New York with Rael and all these people from around the world. And some people will be joining us via Zoom. And we have a proclamation that we're putting out then. And we've got a
Mhm.
preamble. And we've got these statements that we want to make regarding the crisis that men and boys are facing internationally. So we're playing the local international game. We're dealing locally, we're dealing from a state standpoint, we're dealing from a national standpoint, and we're dealing at an international level as well. But we're putting out a proclamation, we're making some statements. If you're not familiar with Robert Garza, you familiar with Rob Garza out of Texas? He has,
No.
that's somebody I would want to put you in contact with because he created a bill called Time Taken, Time Back. Robert Garza had 43 false allegations of abuse thrown at him over a period of, I forgot how many years, it might have been like 10 or 14 years, as he was going through a very contentious divorce with his ex-wife. But he created a bill that was passed in Texas. And what it does is that it gives a parent time back that they may have lost as the result of a false allegation. And it is I believe it's a law now in Texas. But everybody is behind it. Senator Ted Cruz is behind it. All these people are behind it. And Rob Garza has a template that anybody could pass in their state, anywhere across the continental United States. It's a template. You can hand it to a representative in your state and get that person to sign on to it. It's already been done. So all we're doing is in many ways copying and pasting information and passing it on. So I'd say, man, that there's some real traction being made in fathers' rights, men's rights, boys' rights. And it's just a matter of being connected with some of the right conversations. People like Jeff Morgan, Rob Garza, Ed Bartlett with Davia, like I mentioned, Rael LaPenta. There's some people that are out here kicking behind. And, you know, I know some people aren't crazy about the new president, but they feel like it's in this particular presidency that these things will be looked at with more seriousness.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
yeah,
and
I do too.
really do hope so. I really do hope so. But yeah, put me in contact with them. I would love to have them so they can share some truth, you know, some lights on some of the things that they are doing.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that's going to be a good thing to have them so we can spread, you know, a lot more awareness. But so, will you guys stream it live or how?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So people will be able to participate via Zoom with what we're doing in New York. There's going to be a press conference at 11 o'clock, March the 12th. I'll send you all this information.
Okay.
And then we're going to do 5 or 6 different workshops, half-hour-long workshops. I'm going to do one on false allegations with a guy named Robert Samery out of Toronto. He's coming to New York, but he is coming from Toronto. And like I said, this is an international gathering, which is really great. And people will be telling stories, but these declarations and proclamations are important because we need, as you said, to be pushing for change.
Yeah.
The stories are very important as they, you know, help people to understand the problem, but we need to convert the problems into solutions, sustainable solutions. And that's where laws like the time taken, time back, that thing is working. It's something that, because of the problem and because of the story, was turned into a solution. So I am quite pleased with being at this place where I don't continue to tell the story. Somebody's always going to need a story, so I'm never going to dismiss that. But we're also going to need some victories. We're going to need people to see that something was changed as a result of that problem.
Right.
And I'm happy to be in fellowship and in the battle with people who are thinking that way, because we got to be thinking that way.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, please send me the contact information. I will try to reach out to them and see if I can maybe get them on a podcast so we can start making things happen.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to start this this thing where people can start investing in these people, you know. And I know sometimes doing the work that we do, you don't make anything, to be honest with you. You don't make money at all.
No, you don't.
So I want to be able to, you know, just that's why actually I'm going to start selling products to, you know, to help, you know, some of the people like you that are out there fighting, that we can at least give you something, you know. But all right, so the conversation that you were having when you were speaking, you said you were speaking to your city council, and will you be able to send me the video? Because I want to be able to include the video of some of the
Yes.
things that you were saying. How's the audio on it? Because I couldn't really hear it clearly.
I'll double check. I'll see.
Okay.
I'll double check it, and I will see. I'll see if I can enhance the audio. But I'll get you. This is the second time I've done it. I'll get you whatever I can, and hopefully you can work with it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was the county council that I was speaking to, and our hope is that, like I said, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to sign a proclamation for Falsely Accused Day. We want people to recognize that false allegations are real. You know, one of the things that some groups keep pushing back against is that false allegations are rare. It's just not true. False allegations are everywhere.
Right.
They're everywhere. And when it comes to using these false allegations in family court, I think people need to take them more seriously. Nobody is being punished for making false allegations. That's the worst part of it, is that you get a judge that will rule that an allegation is unfounded. And that's like, to me, that's a safe space. Like in my case, the judge ruled that my ex-wife's claims were unfounded, as opposed to she's lying. And I always say, if the allegations were founded, I would be punished.
Right. Yep, absolutely.
But if the allegations are unfounded, it's like, well, just kind of a failed attempt on her part. She tried to get me, but she didn't. I'm like, wait a minute. Why can't we see that this was just a lie?
Yeah.
This was just something that was made up. Well, because, we don't know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
like
and
I
I always
said,
ask her, right. And I always ask her, what is the point of perjury if you won't hold them accountable?
what's the point, brother? I'm so glad you said that. And there are laws in the state of Pennsylvania. There are laws against perjury. So I'm going back and I'm filing a criminal complaint. And I know it's been 4 years, but the statute of limitation is 5. I'm going back and I'm filing a criminal complaint. I'm going to show every piece of evidence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That as far as I'm
doing the exact
concerned.
same thing.
You're doing the same thing?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. And I'm naming anybody that helped her, either hide my children, pull my children in harm's way, everybody.
Yep.
I'm naming everybody too. Honestly, that's what I'm doing. As well.
I'm glad you're doing that, because I think sometimes we sit back and we take it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men in particular, they just take it and they just want to be done with it. And this is why when we talk about trying to get laws passed, trying to get people to pay attention, nobody pays attention because there's not enough people fighting the issue.
Mm-hmm.
We need people fighting the issue. When we get to the point where we're fighting the issue and we can establish that there's a problem, then I think people will take us more seriously and they'll be more inclined to fund something, to put, a nonprofit needs to be created. We have, Rail and I have gone after the Domestic Abuse Project here in Delaware County and said to them, you all need to stop helping people file PFAs or petitions from abuse, protection orders. Stop you all shouldn't even be doing that. Because once you do that, you've already sided with somebody. Let them do that on their own. Because when I come back to you and say it was false, all you can say is, well, the first person that showed up is the person that we helped. That's not it.
And I think those people needs to be held accountable too. So
I
I don't know
do
if
too.
there's any type of law or something that we can do to hold them accountable. Because one thing I've come to understand, a lot of these organizations, they get government grants based on the number of people that they help.
Absolutely.
So they're not in the business of making sure that what is being alleged is, remotely true or you know what I mean? Like, they don't care about any of that.
They don't
just
care.
want to make sure that they file this paperwork to say that, okay, we qualify for this government grant because we help this amount of people, which I think is absolutely wrong.
I agree. And I wonder, and we've been looking at these numbers, I wonder how many lawyers and law firms are actually contributing to these domestic abuse agencies, almost as if they're paying them to listen to these lawyers. So if I send a client over to you, I'll call up Jen. Hey, Jen, I got a client coming over to see you. Well, if I just put up X amount of dollars to your organization last year, Jen is going to say, yeah, send them right over. No, that's not how this works. We shouldn't be in the business of paying these agencies to do slipshod work.
Mhm.
You can't get money for a false allegation. That's not the way that this is supposed to work, but that's the way that it's working.
And the sad thing is, a lot of women, and this is actually what she told me, because I filed for divorce twice, and then the first time we decided to work it out. And the crazy
Right.
thing is, the first time the allegation that she filed against me was worse than the second time, because the second time I was much more prepared than I was the first time, right? So,
Right.
So the first time when we decided to work things out, she was telling me so many women go to these shelters just so they can get apartments. So if you have children, they will make sure that you get apartments much faster as opposed to you living with a family member or being outside. So it's a system, to be honest with you, for this to change, all those things needs to be cut down.
I agree.
And I think even the fact that attorneys are allowed to
donate
to donate to judges, companions, I think all that needs to stop, because it created this. I don't care what anybody say. If you help me get into a position, I have a moral obligation to repay you some way, somehow. That's just the human nature.
You do.
You get what I'm saying? This is what I'm like. Sometimes it's just unfair when you're standing, especially if you are representing yourself. It's unfair to stand before these judges when they clearly know that this attorney that is opposing you have invested into their reelection.
That is
correct.
correct.
Win that case.
That is correct. That is correct. And that's why I keep talking about opening up the frame of these battles, so that if we keep going into these places where they're having lunch together, they're having dinner together, they're having drinks, they're going to conferences together and all that kind of stuff, the judge may as well be my ex's attorney, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they know one another. They're sitting in there and they're playing around and laughing and calling each other by their first names. And I'm sitting there like, what the hell is going on here?
Right.
And you made the point about women mostly, and Bill Corbett. You remember Bill Corbett, the veterans guy. Bill says this all the time. A man can't find a shelter for a man.
Yeah.
You cannot find a DV shelter for a man. And to your point also regarding where people should be putting money, Bill Corbett has been trying to raise money for a male or father DV shelter for a long time. And people are like, for what? For what? How easy, and I know it's theory again, but how easy would his problem be solved if 10,000 guys gave $100?
Mm-hmm.
Just give me 10,000 guys putting up $100 to help make this happen. And I'll make sure, man, that I send you contacts for everybody who I've mentioned, from
Mm-hmm.
Robert Garza to Rael and Larry DeMarco, the people at Davia, and I'll get you the template that Robert Garza sends to people for time taken, time back.
Okay.
Some of this stuff really, man, is about coordinating and organizing, and we got to do a better job of connecting the dots. You and I have been saying that since we've known one another. We got to do a job of connecting the dots. We don't have to be part of the same organizations to connect the dots of our organizations. If we could just connect the dots of our organizations, we're on to something. And I think Davia is doing a pretty good job of that. But I think men also have, for decades, maybe even centuries, not organized in this way. And Bill and I laugh about this a lot of the times because as veterans, we're used to organizing and planning and strategic planning. We're used to that. But when it comes to this environment, we keep coming up short.
Yeah.
It's like this is what we do all day long as military people. We were used to organizing, strategic planning, vision. And in this environment, somehow we keep coming up short, and it doesn't make any sense. If you're going to fight effectively, it can't be a part-time thing.
Yeah.
It really does have to be well funded so that you don't run out of gas, because sometimes you don't know how long the fight is going to be. I've been fortunate in these last 4 years. I've got great friends who, when it was tough for me, I don't think that my ex-wife could have possibly known that I was capable of battling her in this way. Otherwise, she would have picked this fight. I really think that she thought.
Yeah, that's true.
She thought that this was just going to be, I'm going to smack you around and you're going to go away. And then she looked up and it was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And the tables turned. But that's because people who believe in me and know who I am were like, what do you need? And I could call on them when it got tough. I could call on them. But everybody's not like that.
Yeah.
Everybody's not like that. And
Yeah,
I don't know
funny
that
you say
everybody
that.
ever will be. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny you say that, because when I was going through it, one of my friends told me, she was doing, and then her and her family were doing the things that they were doing to me, because they thought, since I am an immigrant, when they started lying on me like this, I'm just gonna run off and leave our children.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the
yeah.
thing that had me, standing tall, I didn't do anything wrong. I just didn't want the marriage anymore. I
Right.
can walk away from you and still be a good father.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and that's the reason why I do what I do, and I'm really standing tall, because I didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
I never put my
Right.
hands on you. I never
Right.
called you out your name. Till this
Right.
day, I don't remember the last time I've looked at a woman and called them the B word.
Yeah.
That's just not in me.
Right.
And you know what's
Right.
crazy though? When I was when I was reading those paperwork after court, I contacted one of my exes, and I started asking her. I'm like, have I ever been abusive to you in
Wow.
any way, shape, or form?
Wow.
And she sat there literally over the phone for quiet for a moment and told me, I may be many things, but a woman beater, an abuser, it was never me, never. And then every once in a while, me and her, every time that we talk, because sometimes the question that the thing is, when you're going through something like this, right, with these false allegations, dealing with the family court, it makes you, I think you said this earlier, it makes you question yourself.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
it puts you in this position, because you would think that you create, I don't know how to explain it. It's like it makes you get to a point where, and just start asking yourself, was I, and when I talk to one of my exes, she always reassure me. That is, and I'm glad it's one of my exes, because if it's somebody else, it's very hard to believe, but if it's someone that you are in a, somewhat of a same relationship with, the person that lied on you, it's like, okay, that's not who I am. So why is she coming up with all these crazy things?
Mustafa, I'm shaking my head because I called 4 of my exes.
You did?
4. And I could name them. It wouldn't matter, but I can name them. I called 4 of them. And I remember one saying, Ulysses, you know better. You know better. I see what you're going through, but you know better. Another one was like, baby, come on, stop it. But all 4 of them were like, there's nothing that anybody can tell me about you. And I'd like to believe I've had quality relationships with women, which is why I was able to call them. And I needed, I think it really does put us in a spiral, in a mental, psychological spiral, to the point where we're asking ourselves, who am I? And that's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
But it's so cool,
absolutely.
man, to be able to go back to somebody and say, who am I? And they'll say, I'll tell you who you are. Let me remind you of who you are. You're kind, you're loving, you're gentle, you're fair, you're compassionate, you're empathetic. You that's who you are. What you just happen to come across somebody who tried to convince you that you were none of those things. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. So it says something.
That's what my and the crazy thing is though, it actually it helped rekindle some of the relationship I had with some of my exes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I had to really call somebody that I was in a romantic relationship with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know I wasn't perfect, but was I this to you? Did I did this to you or not? You know what I mean? It's like, yo,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah. Remember when we were talking earlier and we were talking about how we need to do a better job of checking somebody's past and, vetting their past relationships and learning about their past? If somebody was to check your past and my past, they would find the very people that we're talking about right now. And
Mhm.
those people would say what they said to us, which is kind, gentle, loving, compassionate, fair, understanding. That's what you would get. That's what my resume says,
Yeah.
right? If I had done that to her, they would have been like, "Oh my God, you probably don't want to go there. You really don't." I remember having a conversation with my ex-wife's first husband, and he said to me, and again, this was during that very delicate time where we were transitioning. He said to me, I'm not sure I want to talk about this because a couple of her previous exes have reached out to me about her.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, I appreciate some of the other questions that you asked, particularly around my children. I greatly appreciate that because Mustafa, I was just having a conversation with my children about this matter yesterday. And as we're approaching April the 4th is when we're supposed to be going to trial. The conversations, I think, are going to intensify. And when I say intensify, I just mean that we're looking forward to this. This is a long time coming. And I don't want to talk about being anxious about it because I'm not necessarily anxious. I'm more agitated that it takes this long to come back to where there could be some resolution. But I'll add that I'm very grateful because I feel like it's been 4 years of preparation for this moment. I'm not emotionally invested in her in any way. I'm not wondering what if, I feel like I was blindsided by a fraud, just a total fraud. And as I said earlier, it's like looking at a rock. I feel like I'm just looking at a rock. For my children, I'm looking forward to that place where we could come face to face with this person who tried to pull this.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, I mentioned that one story out of Tallahassee about Dan Markell and Wendy Adelson. That happened in 2014, and only now, 2024 and 2025, is this family being held accountable for what they did 10 years ago.
Donna was taken into custody and charged with first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the 2014 shooting death of her estranged ex-son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Can I call my attorney?
You can. You have a passport ready?
Where am I going?
Florida State law professor Dan Markell and Donna Adelson's daughter, Wendy, were embroiled in a bitter custody battle when he was killed. They lived in Tallahassee and both worked at the law school. But Wendy Adelson wanted to take their young sons and move hundreds of miles away to Miami to be closer to her mother, Donna. Dan Markell would not agree to this.
Mom, I need you to sit down. I am fine. The boys are fine. I need you to sit down. Danny has been shot. And I don't think he's gonna make it.
Since Dan Markell's death, 2 hitmen and 2 co-conspirators, including Wendy Adelson's brother Charlie, have been convicted. Prosecutors say Markell's ex-mother-in-law, Donna, was the mastermind of the murder-for-hire plot.
And it's crazy that it takes that long sometimes.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the family of the man that was killed, Dan Markell, is happy to know that you all aren't getting away with this. It took a long time, but we caught up to you all. and everybody is going to be held accountable. And that's what I want. I want my children to see that sometimes you got to endure some long days, but if you stick to it, people will know not to bother you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I want. I want them to understand that sometimes it's a long haul. Sometimes it is a marathon and not a sprint. And you will know better as you move into the future. So, brother, I want to thank you so much for having me on again.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Like I
absolutely.
said,
It
it
was good
feels
seeing
like
you. It was a great conversation. Absolutely.
feels like
I see
just
that you have
yesterday.
your YouTube over here. Do you have any other contact information that you want to share?
This is the best place to find me right now. I think
Okay.
I'm really trying to build up my YouTube channel. I've got a nice, strong following on TikTok, but YouTube is where I would like for people to pick up the long format stuff that I'm doing. You can find on YouTube, and I'll try to get you the best versions possible of that stuff that I'm doing at Delaware County.
Yeah, please. Yeah, any information that you want me to include with this podcast, please send it over.
Absolutely will.
Include it, you know, and the people respond. They respond better to when we include, you know, videos, text messages, and things like that into this podcast. Like they do very well.
Good.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you know, I'm gonna do everything that I can to help out. You know, you can always reach out if you need anything raised. Because I was looking at it the other day. With all my platforms, I have over 500,000 people that follow me. You know,
wow.
When you really look at the engagement that we get, literally, like we have 100 plus million unique engagement monthly. You get what I'm saying? So my goal now is to start getting people. If you really appreciate what we do, if you understand the fight that we are in, you have to be able to donate something. I was trying to stay away from that, but I'm beginning to understand that for us to win this, we need to be able to fund the people that are in the forefront, you know, getting some of this law and some of these things changed. So, but yeah, anything that you can send me, you know, and I'm gonna start asking for donations if you want to do something like, so we can do maybe a live where we can bring this up again and then have a target amount that we want to get to, you know, and then I know sometimes, you know, some people, they have to see you 4 or 5 times before they can trust to give you anything, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm gonna contact Bill as well to see what we can do, because you know, you just gave me a great idea on what we can move next with this platform. So it's you know, it was a really good conversation. It was a really good conversation. But I want to make sure that I didn't, you know, with this sound issue that we were having, that it didn't, you know, take away from anything that you wanted to share. You know what I mean? If you have maybe, like you said, you had some notes. If you want to add anything else, you know, we can go ahead and add that now, and I'll make sure to include it as well.
No, I think I said everything, man, and I'll get you, I'll as quickly as possible, I'll get you follow-up email with some contact information.
Okay.
Upcoming events and contact information for some people that I think you would want to talk with.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. And
all right, my brother. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much, man. You have a good one, okay?
All right, brother. Peace.
Take care.